Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men Age of Apocalypse Wave 2 Colossus Build-A-Figure. Here we have Magneto. So before I get into the video, first, everyone's going to ask, where did you get these from? If you follow me on Instagram, you hopefully would have seen. But if you do not, make sure you follow me on Instagram. But I picked up this wave from toysnowman.com. I had posted links and my referral link, which will give you 5% off, by the way. Link in the video description below. I posted on all over social media that, hey, Toy Snowman is going to have this in stock. Here's my referral link, get 5% off. I think maybe one or two of you guys took advantage of that. And then they shipped mine out. So, you know, they're expecting more soon. So if it is something that you wanted to get it, toysnowman.com. Again, they are based in Canada. Their website does list Canadian dollar prices. It is not the US dollar. I can say that all the time, and you guys still are like, why is it so pricey? Canadian dollar is a higher amount. So when you do the conversion, I want to say the wave is about $200, which, yes, does seem a little high, but in Canada they are priced higher, but you get free shipping to the US on orders of $99 or more. So toysnowman.com, my referral link in the video description below. You get a 5% off coupon as part of the Toy Snowman Frost Rewards system. So again, link in the video description below. But here we have Magneto. I'm loving the artwork on the side of the package for Age of Apocalypse, and if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it's David Nakayama, his artwork, but it looks fantastic when you see all of the boxes together. Really love the way it looks. Here on the back of the package we get that same artwork of Magneto, looking pretty cool there. The bio reads, Magneto casts off his anti-human sentiments and carries on Xavier's dream of peaceful coexistence, thereby founding the X-Men. So in the alternate timeline of Age of Apocalypse, David Howler, Charles Xavier's son, goes back in time and kills, he means to kill Magneto, but ends up killing his father. And then that just kind of switches and turns everything. It's just all kinds of crazy. So without further ado, let's get this thing out of the package, and we will compare him to some other Magneto figures, because Hasbro has given us 4 other Magneto figures. This makes number 5, and they're all very similar, but they all have a little bit of differences, so we will do the comparison with all of those. Okay, and here is the Magneto figure out of the package. And there's some good things about this figure, but there's also some things that are just real basic, because these other Magneto figures all have kind of the same stuff going on. The body itself is basically the same. The boots are different. The forearms are going to be different. Head sculpt is different, of course. But this one, I actually like probably this cape more than the other ones. The way it sits on the figure a little bit more, I think is a little bit better. So a couple of those things. So first, let's take a look at the accessories. We've seen these type of things before in various different colors, but they are the purple, you know, kind of flame magnetic type effects that you would kind of wrap around his hands and his forearms. And then we have an additional set of hands. So out of the package, he has like these open hands, as you see there. And then he also comes with a pair of fists. So that is really cool there. And then we do get a helmeted head sculpt, which looks pretty good. My only gripe with this head sculpt would be that this horn part there in the front is a red color, same as the helmet. From the artwork that I see, and in my trade book, it is supposed to be purple. He's not on the cover. So yeah, he's on the back. So looking at the back, that horn part is supposed to kind of be that purple color, but we did not get that on the head sculpt, unfortunately. So that is too bad. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Hair there. Look, it's kind of funny looking underneath. It's all mostly hair, and then just that face part is a separate piece there. So a little bit of a change up. I just thought that was interesting. But the head sculpt does look pretty good. The eyes are just kind of white. You see his eyebrows in there. Looks pretty good. But there's the figure. Let's take a closer look at it. Okay, so here's an up-close look at the Magneto figure. So here's the unhelmeted head sculpt. It just kind of has a blank expression there, but I think it does look really good. The gray does have a little bit of wash in there to kind of give it some texture definition. It's kind of subtle in there, but you do see it, and hopefully you can kind of see that streak right there. It seems to like be missing any of that wash right there to help get it to stand out, but it looks pretty good. Got the bands around in his hair, and they're painted decently with the purple. The collar piece around his cape, however, The paint is kind of spotty. I mean, you get the red bleeding through the silver quite a bit on some of these spots, especially in the back. So just, you know, another hit of deco paint would have gone a long way in there, but, you know, unfortunately they did not do that. Try to brighten it up for you guys here so you could really see it. But it looks pretty good for the most part. We've seen this body used over and over again for Magneto. The forearms are different, however, and I will show a comparison because I got to show you guys all of the figures. So I'll do that like all side by side with all four of them together, so you can see them all at one time and you kind of see what the differences are. And then we got these boots here. They're just done in a super shiny purple material. Same for the forearms. The belt isn't as shiny, but the forearms, the hands, and the boots are really shiny. And then looking at the cape, not a whole lot going on to it. It doesn't look like there's any paint applied to it. We get some, you know, sculpted wrinkles and stuff in there. And as you can see, the cape does not go all the way down, which is something that I really like, because the other Magneto figures, the cape basically goes down to his feet and hits the ground, and sometimes can make it hard for him to stand up. It can sometimes kind of brace him from falling down, but for the most part, I just have a hard time getting him to stand because of it. So let's pop this head off. And let's get this other one on there. And you can remove the cape too, of course. There's no peg on the back, which I really like. Even though the figure itself has a peg hole, the cape does not have a peg, so you don't have to do it. And it's actually a really hard plastic compared to the other capes that we get. We get these purple shoulder pads in there as well. But yeah, the cape, I think, actually is done really, really well. So this is kind of tricky. When getting the head on, you see how the hair is curved? That kind of hits the cape piece there, so you kind of have to work around it first, and then, you know, pop it on the head. And it doesn't pop on, it just kind of, you just kind of force it there and hope that it's kind of on there, I guess. But, you know, it's not falling down, it's not going anywhere, so that should be good. But that looks pretty good. I like the way that looks. Again, I wish the horn was that purple color to kind of match. I think it would have looked a hell of a lot better, but that looks pretty good. One thing that I think would have been really cool is a lot of images when you see of Magneto from the Age of Apocalypse with the helmet on, you really can't see his face. It's all kind of blacked out, like the helmet isn't as visible through the helmet for his face, so it's kind of blacked out and you can just kind of see white for his eyes. An additional head sculpt of that I think would have been really, really cool. But this is what we have, and I think it looks pretty good. So let's zoom out for the articulation. Okay, so articulation for Magneto is going to be really tough because the hair, the way it's sculpted, you're not going to get a whole lot of movement going on with the head. You get some pivot going on in there. He really, really just can't look up. He has a little bit of a hard time looking down, but he can somewhat. Then you can see kind of how the hair bows out and looks kind of funky there. You can turn to the side only a little bit because, again, the long hair in the back is really going to hinder that from moving. You can get the shoulders to go up that high because the cape is kind of there in the way. You can do a full rotation, but you have to work around the cape, so just be aware of that. We have an upper bicep swivel in there. You get a double jointed elbow, which only gives you 90 degree because that gauntlet piece hits that bicep there. Wrists swivel and they hinge. We have the standard horizontal hinge there. We have an ab crunch, so Magneto can crunch forward that much. He can go back, but you know, you have the problem with the cape is just kind of get in the way, so it's kind of pointless there. Waist swivel, your legs go out this far apart. You can kick forward really high, actually. Leg doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut in there, double jointed knee like so. You have a boot swivel in there. Foot hinges down all the way. A little bit of hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So decent articulation, not a whole lot. If you have any of the other Magneto figures, you really know what to expect out of this guy because it's really not much different. And speaking of that, let's see the side-by-side comparisons with all four of the now Hasbro Magneto figures. Okay, so here are the 5 Magneto figures, and a little bit of a correction where I said all like the gauntlet pieces, the boots, and everything like that were different. This figure is almost all the same parts as the one from the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave. I believe it was Apocalypse. Maybe I'm wrong, but these two figures actually are the most similar in that they have the entire same body. The gauntlet pieces are actually the same. The boots are the same. They do have different feet, different cape, and of course, different head sculpts. But for the most part, they are all basically the same figure. The Jubilee Build-A-Figure Wave 1, that uses like old ball hip joints and stuff. It's just not a very good figure. However, that cape was used here in the Family Matters 3-pack that was exclusive to Amazon with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, as well as the House of X Powers of 10 Magneto figure there. It's actually the same damn cape, which I don't like because it hangs down so low, it gets a little bit hard for them to stand and whatnot. That's why I actually really like this cape, and why I really like this cape. This black and red Magneto was actually my favorite Magneto figure out of the bunch, just because he seemed a little bit more functional compared to like this one, even though this one was really a classic Magneto figure. The helmet looked kind of huge, or the face was kind of small in there. It kind of sucked in that regards. But this brand new one, the Age of Apocalypse Magneto, is actually really nice. The cape I like. I really like. It's not too heavy where he doesn't fall back and make it hard for him to stand or anything like that. We have the classic colors, so it's kind of similar, even though it's really not. The long hair does look really cool. So if you have multiple Magnetos, you can kind of really put together kind of the ideal Magneto figure, I guess, if you wanted to. But this new one really is up there in terms of functionality and how it works, mainly because of how the cape is. But, you know, that's just my thoughts on it. You guys let me know down in the comments below which of these 5 Magneto figures is your favorite, and of course, do you have them all, or which ones do you have? Which ones do you like the most? Okay, and one quick side-by-side comparison here. We have Magneto next to the Legion figure. The only other figure in the wave that I have reviewed so far is I got that one from Target at the beginning of September because it was the only one that they had shipped out. But I'm glad I now have the full wave thanks to ToySnowman.com. Okay, and there's my review on the Magneto figure. Nothing great, nothing crazy different or anything. I do really like the cape. I think it is a nice upgrade, a nice change up. You know, the Age of Apocalypse look to all the characters. It's really nice that we've now gotten a second wave. So for this particular storyline to have all these different characters, all these different suit designs to all kind of match, I think is really cool. That we know, but we know that the future X-Men waves will not be themed. So we had the Age of Apocalypse waves 1 and 2. We had the House of X Powers of 10 storyline themed wave. Dwight Stahl, when I did the interview with the Hasbro Marvel Legends team, that was one thing that Dwight revealed, is that the next wave will not be a themed wave, and will be several figures, you know, put together with no particular theme. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, do you prefer the themed waves? So far, we really only gotten themed waves for the X-Men figures for Age of Apocalypse and then the Powers of 10. We haven't had it for like Avengers or for Spider-Man where it's a particular comic storyline. You know, movies and MCU and all that, of course, naturally. But I'm curious to know what you guys think of that whole concept of doing an entire wave centered around a particular storyline. I think it's interesting, but we do run into the issue of getting a lot of the same characters again, but in a different look. But that might be, you know, part of the appeal. So you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of that, what you think of this Magneto figure. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.